Welcome to the first episode of Content Creators Friday Talk, your new weekly show about content creators industry. We will share with you insight and also tips and tricks. I'm Frederic, co-founder of Foxy, an online platform where B2B brands and business and tech content creators create, share, and amplify content. Oh, sorry. Sorry for that. As I mentioned, we are a platform where top B2B brands and business tech content creators create, share, and amplify content. I'm delighted to close this show with Cyril. How are you today, Cyril?
Hello, Frederic. I'm very well, thank you.
Cyril, you are yourself a content creator, so your point of view will be very precious for this new show.
Thank you. I hope I will be able to provide some value. Yes.
So this week we start with Twitter. You know that in the news, a lot of people speak about Twitters and about two things: about Twitter API and Twitter Blue. If it's okay for you, we will start with Twitter API. 1 week ago, just a little bit of context, but 1 week ago, Elon Musk explained that the free version of Twitter API will disappear. Normally now, you will have to start paying $100 per month to start using it. It was a little bit changing because now they also say that they will keep under condition a free version of the API. So at the end, who is concerned by this API change? Research industry, startups, content creators, publishing software, and bots. By your side, Cyril, are you concerned by this change?
Personally, no, because I fit into the kind of free tier area. My big concerns is for all the startups and ecosystem around social management tools, lately buffer, etc. Because you always have rules with Twitter, and this tweet about the end of the free version of the API was on February, just to say, oh, by the way, on February the 9th, 1 week, you are going to change your business model because we decided to do so.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
always the
very
same.
brutal. It's very
Yes,
brutal.
there is no roadmap. You don't remember last month they decided to cut the API access to some app who kind of change the way the Twitter timeline is arranged to make it easier to read to their user. Now, once again, a few weeks later, they come and the API access rules, which is quite a critical component for any social media management tools. And this tweet was seen 106 million times. Twitter dev, so at Twitter dev, has only 500,000 followers. So it's something
Whoa.
that has spread quite a lot, and people have been concerned because many of us use any type of tools for the scheduling, for reading, for filtering, for posting. So we are all in a way another impacted by this. So concerning especially vision and visibility of their roadmap.
But it also could change your process on Twitter, because maybe you are using some tools that next week will not be able to publish again on Twitter. So you have to completely change your habits, to completely change your process. In my opinion, the problem is also the impact of Twitter ecosystem. A lot of people are using this API and develop some very cool bots or cool tools to help other people. And as you mentioned, there is there is a problem in the vision, in the product roadmap, and people are very afraid about that. And what is the power of Twitter? Is it's is ecosystem at the end. So if people are afraid about that, at the end it will break the ecosystem. I'm pretty sure that for a company just like Buffer or something like that, with pricing start for the new API at $100 per month, they will be able to develop and to adapt and to use these new tools. But for instance, research industry, it will be complicated to keep developing cool stuff on Twitter, unfortunately.
Yeah, and probably Twitter will face the same issue as LinkedIn, which is companies using bots basically to scrap uh,
Yeah,
the content on the website and after reselling this content outside.
absolutely.
So there is probably a missed opportunity to work with the developers, to work with this ecosystem, to understand what is your need with the API and develop the
Yeah.
right API. Right now, basically, it looks like Twitter is desperate to try to bring people on their own platform to increase the number of ads they can push to us. Because I don't see any other reason why otherwise they would do this. That's,
It's I don't know. It's a question of cost, of user experience, of it's a lot of things because it's true also that when you have a, a free API, sometimes, as you mentioned, there is also some people that use this API to scrap and to sell data after that and so on. So it's also a problem. So you need to find the right balance between regulation of your API and access to your API at the end.
no, yeah, absolutely. But Twitter was pretty good to enforce any rules that
Yeah,
that they decided themselves with the API. So there was no problem without that, and the API was pretty stable in terms, of uh, stability and of the platform itself. So very strange to do this something last minute and yeah, it looks like someone had a brain fart on a Sunday and yeah,
yeah. In terms of communication, it's very very brutal once again, and
very very
and
poor.
you are not able to manage your own product if you are working with Twitter by this way at the end.
Yeah, and it's impossible to communicate with them because they are fired basically the entire communication department. So
Yeah,
no, there is no one to answer uh, exactly what is the plan. Only Elon Musk basically communicate on behalf of the company,
yeah,
but it's not exactly the most reliable source of information. You know, Platformer just announced that he fired an engineer because the engineer wasn't able to find in the code that Twitter was manipulating his visibility. So he tried to investigate that, and it's crazy. Anyway, enough of that. Maybe we can shift, because we talk about
yeah.
a bit of the monetization about the Twitter Blue.
About Twitter Blue,
Yeah,
I know, Cyril, that you are a power user of Twitter, and you've got Twitter Blue. Do you think it's important for all content creators to become blue? What's your feedback on it?
I would say it was more important to have it before it became something you could buy. Okay, uh, so that's one thing. I think it's important one if you are a kind of public figure, if you work a lot online, there should be shows that it's not an impersonator. There is quite a lot of fake accounts taking using real content creators' name, influencers, usually to sell crypto, so to elaborate some crypto scam behind. So I think it's a nice way to protect your audience against some potential scam. Okay, so don't do it just for yourself. Do it for also your audience. Uh, Secondly, I think the credibility aspect, whatever, it's not necessarily there anymore. I think we are here to say, oh, this is a real person because it should have been verified. Uh, and basically, what is this person is going to share, etc. Um, it's not approved by Twitter, but at least it stays in the guidelines of Twitter, if I can say it this way. Uh, Now there is a differentiation, different colors. So you have the orange for the brands and blue, but you don't know if the blue, except if you dive a little bit deeper, it was because you are a public figure, a renowned person, or just because you bought it. It doesn't really matter at the end. But the purpose of that was mainly to drive and increase revenues. And there's been some figures released this week that Twitter Blue has only 120,000 subscribers in the US. So
Oh,
yeah, it was only available in the
it's
US.
very low. It's a very low number.
To the US is the second biggest market for Twitter. The first one being Japan. Let's not forget that. Uh, so 120,000 at $11 per month times 12, you can imagine $15 million is not going to change anything for
Yeah.
Twitter, really. Um, I think yeah, probably the expectations were like 20-25% of users will vote this, but uh, because it's not mandatory to be a real person on Twitter, you could be an anonymous account, you can be a bot, whatever. Uh, why would you pay for something when you can be anyone else? So this is where I think their strategy has been a bit wrong. They should have done the opposite and say, well, you know what? If you are not a real person, you need to pay a subscription because you are a bot, you are an anonymous account, you are whatever it is. They should have done the opposite way because this type of accounts are the one who use Twitter to promote products, sell product and services, courses, whatever. So they are the one making money of Twitter, not people, browsing or sharing a bit of content here and there. So I think they just completely, mismatch and misalign their objective with with what they've done.
So remember that the born of Twitter Blue was very chaotic at the beginning. Remember about the price. The price changed very quickly at the beginning. It had to be I think $20 per month, and one tweet later it will be $8 per month. So once again, we it's very confusing for people who love Twitter and love using Twitters, because you always ask yourself what will be the next big announcement and how it will change your Twitter process and the way you are using these tools.
Yeah,
And
this is my point. But this is exactly my point. Is they could charge $100 per month to accounts that make a big part of their revenue from Twitter because they use it as their main promotion tool. Uh, so they could charge 100, 200, $500 because they make far more money than this. Why do you target people, students, pensioners, unemployed, and try to get the $11 tax every month? That's a bit pathetic here.
I
Okay,
understand.
I know we are
I
short on
understand.
time. I know this is the first episode, so we need to.
Yeah. Yeah,
We,
for sure, for sure. We are on a warm up episode, and we have also to speak about two very trendy topics. The first one is the AI wars that just start with yesterday's introduction of Bard, the Google competitors to Chat GPT, and um, The my concern is not to make a comparison between the both tool, because nobody can use now Bard, but it's more about Google communication and the way different Microsoft and Google, for instance, are using this solution. I think that we will make a complete episode about ChatGPT, because there is a lot of things to say, a lot of questions about ChatGPT. But what we just have to say is, and I think it's very very important, the communication of the communication mistake Google made yesterday has a very huge impact on Google capitalization, as people know. But he has to remember one thing about this kind of tools. You can have the best algorithm at the end. It's always depend of the quality of your data set. And for instance, if you are looking about ChatGPT 3 and ChatGPT 4, dataset are completely different, and the results you've got with ChatGPT are also very very different. So don't go too fast with Bard or ChatGPT. I think we have to let Google work to have the right data set to configure and to develop Bard, but it could be also a very promising tools. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I'm completely shocked that Google had to wait that something potentially threat them, threat their market
Yeah,
to react. I mean, it demonstrates that Google has just been bloody lazy for the past 10 years and just, enjoying advertising revenue. I mean, how many hundred, how many engineers do they have at Google? I mean, it's insane the amount of resources they have and the complete lack of innovation in this company for the past 10 years. It's shocking.
for
They were
sure.
leading machine learning with TensorFlow, etc. What have they done? Nothing. And now, basically, when, oh, wow, the public has reacted uh, so enthusiastically to ChatGPT because oh, it's bloody easy to use. I can ask real questions, and oh, they use my previous questions, and I can add something or I can remove something, and I can generate another answer. I said, wow, that's like a magic tool. Yeah, and this is exactly by chance I would say ChatGPT has released this, and they just like the adoption has been massive. You don't need to learn the tool. You use it in 30 seconds. After you need to learn a few things here and there to 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 mm, to master the tool. But that's for another episode. Um, but what is shocking is Google communicates and then maybe they will deliver. They have become like the new Microsoft of the new IBM. It's like soon maybe the communications department will be bigger than their engineering department, and it's very disappointing. And I hope that this episode, what happened with Bard and ChatGPT, will shake them. Uh, Also, they are in a very bad position because they don't control social media, and that's a big
Um,
problem for them.
I'm not totally agree with you about that part, because if I just have a look about Google communication over the last past years, for instance, they make crazy communication about AI and communication tools. Remember the Google I/O when Google Assistant make an appointment for you, and this kind of demo is very very impressive also about Google capacity. So we can for sure be suspicious and say, oh, it's not really just fake and so on. But it also shows that they work on artificial intelligence, and in a way maybe people are not looking for. It's also
That's
very very interesting to see that at the end, ChatGPT find a way to have people adoption compared to Google Assistant or even Amazon Alexa.
But you have my point, Frederic, is Google has these technologies, amazing stuff in their labs,
Yeah,
blah, 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 blah. But basically they are so dependent on their advertising revenue that basically they
for
won't
sure,
launch anything until they have a kind of business model associated to it. So you can imagine now basically the scale of the operation. Well, ChatGPT, OpenAI, they just launch and it flies great. Otherwise, that was a nice try. And you need to have this culture when you work in tech and startup. You need to have this culture to uh, through some projects. Sometimes you can't just have the perfect business model before you release it
for
to the market.
sure, for sure. But I think Google has this kind of culture. Just have a look about their product symmetry, and they try and test a lot of things at the end. So um, I'm not sure they lost this war. I'm not sure they lost this war,
We'll
and
see.
we will
We'll see.
see. And I think we will have a lot of conversation and talk about this this war during the next coming weeks. And just to because time is running, so I also want to have your feedback about one thing, Cyril. Preparing this talk, you spoke about TikTok, and you say we have to speak about TikTok because I see a very very interesting trends about de-influencing TikTok. Could you
Yes,
explain that?
that's very strange. Is the influencing stuff. So it started as basically some many influencer or people with large audience trying to trash some products basically and say no, it doesn't work. So some products that were uh, um, pushed by celebrities and other social media influencer, and they were basically trashing the product and saying no, it doesn't work, don't buy it. And then it became no, this doesn't work, this product doesn't work, but if you try this one, it works. And it's like a cannibalization of influencers that basically started to trash whatever products the other were pushing and nicely pushing something else. So I the hurt of TikTok is influencers and celebrities. Okay, pretty much like
Yeah,
Instagram. Uh, is that just a short-term trend, the influencing? Um, it will be interesting, but I was quite disappointing because I expected people to come with like I don't recommend this product because from a sustainability point of view, the carbon footprint is not good, or this product is made in a sweatshop, or blah blah blah. There are plenty of ways to justify why not to buy a product, and I don't think the reason for not buying the products are really good so far. So we'll see if it's just a trick to get more buyers and followers, or if this become in the long term a different trend.
but this trend, do you notice this trend only on TikTok or also on Instagram?
So far, only on the TikTok. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think
Oh.
it's because it's easier to sell your own products on TikTok with your sales page. So we'll see.
So we need to keep an eye on this trend, definitely. Thanks a lot, Cyril, for all this insights and for your time. Really appreciate. Thanks a lot to
Yeah.
all of you. Hope you enjoy this episode. Next Friday we will be back for other insight and tips. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page or LinkedIn page to have all details about next episode. Take care. Talk with you soon. Bye.